This is 4th and Goal on Break the Cast.
This is Break the Cast. My name is Jeff Blagden, and I am extremely sick. But unlike our pal Andrew over here, I have decided to actually show up and fight through it to bring you guys the best football podcast on the internet. You're listening to 4th and Goal. I am joined by Andrew the Flake Reese and Christian Smith. Guys, the look on Andrew's face is priceless right now, if you guys could see it. Anyway, last week, there was quite a few closer games than we had imagined going into that week, as we all said that there was going to be some pretty big blowouts and some pretty bad games. But there turned out to be some pretty entertaining football games last week.
Agreed.
What do you guys think? What was your guys' game of the week last week?
I'm not going game of the week, but how about the Saints beating Atlanta, taking their first loss?
See, I don't put a whole lot of weight on that because of the fact that it was a Thursday night game, like I talked about last week. It's just...
These Thursday nighters kill me.
Thursday night games always seem to be weird like that. I feel like if that was played on a Sunday, Atlanta would have, smashed them. But
probably. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. Like, we even said that last week when we were doing our picks. Like, Thursday night games are always an awkward one for some reason.
Freeman
you can't
had
pick Thursday night
huge
games.
Game, though. Only 13 carries, 100 yards, and a TD.
Mm-hmm.
He's a legitimate running back option now, it's safe to say. I think he's already been a legitimate one, but he's got 10 total TDs on the season already.
Yeah. I think is he 10 or 9?
10.
10. Oh, maybe a receiving one or something. Yeah, I mean, he's been great on the year so far. That division in general, though, I think has been a surprise to a lot of people.
Extremely.
To be fair, they've all had a pretty weak schedule. But at the same time, Carolina last week beating Seattle, I think that was a statement game for Carolina to try to prove to people that Carolina is a legitimate team.
I was going to say that was probably my game of the week last week.
That was going to be mine, too. Yeah. That was my lead-in.
Would you put Cam in MVP talks right now?
I'd say he's in MVP talks. I don't think he'd win it.
No, yeah.
Let's not judge it by stats. Judge it by who's the most valuable.
He is carrying that team.
What MVP actually
and you know
stands
what?
for.
The big thing with that, too, is he lost his number one receiver.
Which wasn't exactly a great receiver to begin with.
But he made him look that much better. And now he's making the Panthers look even better without him. Like, he's making it look like that nothing changed really from that team.
There was a lot of knocks on Cam Newton's leadership abilities at first when he came into the league. I don't think people are knocking that anymore.
No way.
He's one of my favorite new QBs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, newer QBs, I should say.
I'm a fan of Cam Newton, but, to me, when you say MVP, of course his name should be brought up, but to me there's no way you put that name above
What's
Aaron
their record
Rodgers.
without him?
Without him, I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Depends who's replacing him.
Yeah.
Who is their backup?
Good question.
Man, I don't
Wow.
know. It used to be Clausen, but he's in Chicago now. Is it still Derek Anderson?
Actually, I think so.
It was Derek Anderson last year. I think he came in and played a game or something, didn't he? Or 2 games or something?
I think so.
But no, yeah, that would definitely be my game of the week too. Obviously, as a Cardinals fan, a little bit of bias there with the happiness of Seattle losing that game.
Yeah, it is Derek Anderson.
Yeah,
and then Joe Webb is the third.
Joe Webb, the receiver turned quarterback.
Joe Webb, everyone.
Everybody pick up Joe Webb in your fantasy league right now.
Christian, did you have a game that you thought was game of the week last week?
No, I didn't say that Falcons game was game of the week. I was just saying it was a surprise. Falcons finally taking their first loss. How about that Steelers comeback?
Oh, boy.
Boys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Third string QB getting her done.
That was, that was because of terrible play calling offensively. You have 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Why are you running the football when you're trailing? And then the best part is they come on the next possession when they've already lost the game and drive the ball down the field in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Why are you running the football? I understand Chris Johnson is putting up 5 yards per carry, but this is situational football. This is the basics of coaching football.
Jones did look pretty good coming in, though. I mean,
to be fair, Landry Jones was
12, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns.
To be fair, Landry Jones was playing against a defense that prepped for Michael Vick all week.
Fair enough. Do you
Right?
think it's safe to say we saw Michael Vick's last game in the NFL?
I think it's safe to say we saw his last game as a Steeler.
As a starter.
As a Steeler, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about last in the NFL. I think there's going to be some team that's going to take a chance on him next year.
Oh, yeah. As they usually do.
As a backup, though. I don't think
Yeah,
he'll
of course.
start another game unless an injury happens.
Yeah. Swinging back to Seattle and Carolina, though, what do you guys? Is it safe to say now that Seattle's playoff chances are gone? What do you guys think? Do you see Seattle making the playoffs this season?
It all depends on the Cardinals. If they can stay healthy, I can't see them losing that top spot.
Knowing Seattle, they'll somehow make it on like an 8-8 record.
Yeah.
It'll be one of those weird things again that they'll just push it, and then when they hit the playoffs, they're going to play like the old Seattle Seahawks. Mm-hmm. So it's a confusing tale there kind of going on.
Yeah, I don't see how they top the Cardinals in that division the way the Cardinals are playing. Mm-hmm. Even speaking unbiased, they're just playing so much better than anyone else in that division.
As well.
But
bar none, the better team.
But I think you got to be worried though in Seattle if you're a Seattle fan, and people at the beginning of the season were like, "Oh yeah, we got a loss, whatever. We got a couple losses, right?" But at this point now, they're really starting to fall behind.
It was the first half regular Graham game that we've seen, though. We had put up 140 yards, but still not taking the W.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and ever since Jimmy Graham spoke out about wanting to be involved and said, well, that's the reason I'm here, they've started to use him, which is good for fantasy owners and obviously for Jimmy Graham, making him look like that versatile tight end that he is. Mm-hmm. But still, Seattle's just not putting up wins, and I think that's becoming the frustrating thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are obviously numerous teams putting up wins, with 5 teams undefeated still this far in the season, which is the highest total, I think, since like 1970 or something.
Yeah, so we got the
3
Packers,
of them
the
on
Patriots,
bye weeks this week, though.
Packers, Patriots, Bengals, Panthers, Broncos. Out of those 5, who do you think stays undefeated after this week? Obviously not.
Well, the Bengals, Broncos, and Packers are all on bye weeks.
I heard you. But who do you think out of the teams playing stays undefeated this week?
So let's see the matchups that we got here. So we have the Panthers against the Eagles this coming week.
Well, that's a win.
Yeah,
and the Panthers should move to 6-0. Patriots against Jets.
That's actually my upset of the week.
That's
I think
tough.
The Jets are going to take it.
The Jets always play the Patriots hard.
Second best offense against the first best defense in the league.
Yeah, so that will be an interesting one. Those are the only 2.
See, the Jets always play the Patriots hard, but at the same time, the way the Patriots are playing this season, I don't see them losing this game against a rival team. They want to make statements every game this year, and I just don't see them losing this game.
Obviously, our picks for the rest of the week will come in later in the show, but I have to agree with you on that as well. I don't see
the Patriots are coming into this game wanting to make an embarrassment of the Jets.
Oh yeah,
and whether they do or not, I don't see them losing this one.
Oh, I agree.
If they do win, I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think it's going to be a blowout because the Jets always play them tight, but the Patriots are wanting to smash them coming into this game. They're not just wanting to beat them. They're wanting to destroy this team. They're rivals. We know what went on with the Patriots in the offseason. We know they're an angry team. And if there's one person I don't want to go up against when he's angry, it's Bill Belichick. Yeah. Well, maybe J.J. Watt. But as far as NFL coaches are concerned.
Can I bring up a team from last week who is really hurting me? And that's Kansas City again. They're 1-5.
Your Super Bowl pick. Right?
My Super Bowl pick, Kansas City Chiefs, are 1-5. I'm going to start picking the Patriots because maybe they'll lose a couple games. That's how it seems to go with myself here.
I think we all, our picks for last week were pretty bad for all of us, which is surprising because we went into those picks saying, oh, these are easy ones this week. There's no problem with these picks.
The Arizona and Pittsburgh one, we were like, Michael Vick's at quarterback, and then a third string.
I think I said over under 6 turnovers. There was none. Yeah. But, last week kind of destroyed us in general for picks. But while we're talking about the undefeated teams and that, who are your guys' now updated top 5 for this week, as far as teams are concerned?
Team-wise? Okay.
Patriots, Packers.
You're putting the Patriots over the Packers now?
Yeah.
Yeah? Took my word?
Yeah. No, just they look too good. I can't deny it. As much of a Tom Brady hater I am, he's one of the best of all time easily.
Oh, yeah.
But I go Patriots, Packers, Carolina, Bengals, and Broncos. And it hurt. I think Falcons are over the Broncos. Just because of Manning, he leads the league in interceptions with 10. He's only 13th in passing yards for QBs.
The Broncos don't really have a good offense.
They've
got a terrific defense. But
they have good players on offense, but they have no quarterback now, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when
Emmanuel Sanders Demarius Thomas are no slouches at all, but they need someone to actually throw
Like we
the
just
ball
need to start
them.
calling Peyton Manning Mr. Noodle because
That
like
arm is
his
just
arm,
flopping.
yeah,
Like,
it's
Like,
a
I never
noodle.
thought I'd say this. I would rather have Eli Manning over Peyton right now.
His arm pulled an Andrew and flaked on the game. Like it just doesn't show up.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can't escape anything for missing one thing.
Well, you can escape when you don't show up.
Yeah, you're really good at escaping, actually.
Anyway, my top 5 before we go on about flaking. I'm gonna have to go with Patriots on top as well, as much as I hate to say it. I'm gonna go Patriots number 1, Packers number 2, Bengals 3. I'm gonna go Falcons 4 and Panthers 5.
My picks are exactly the same as Andrew's, so glad he didn't flake on that segment because now I don't need to talk more. No, yeah, but for sure the Patriots I think have earned top spot this week, and it's going to be Patriots Packers pretty much down to the wire as in our arguments for who's the best team in the league as long as there's no injuries or anything. I do have to mention though I have the Cards sitting at 6 now.
I was about to
I
say
was
Cards are my
about
number
to ask
6.
you. Where do you have Cards?
Despite 2 losses, what they've done in their 4 wins has just been too impressive to ignore.
Now, let's see on an unbiased opinion kind of thing. Where do you put your own team? So the Cardinals, you have 6. I would have them at 6, and I think you also
Yeah,
have
they
them
would
around
be
6.
about 6, 7 for sure.
So the Cowboys right now, obviously injury depleted.
To be honest, they're right in that division still. They're 2-3. The leaders at Giants 3-3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They
they're
could
still
easily
in it.
win that. Dez,
Potentially
I don't
coming
think
back,
he'll be
yeah.
back this week. I think more so next week. But he's been practicing full speed, been taking cuts full speed.
Mhm.
He could be coming back. Castle starting. That could give us a spark with a actual QB.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I think if you guys get Dez back
Then
this week or next week, the
We're
division
good.
is still
yeah.
up for grabs.
And then we got Greg Hardy looking like a stud, like he was on Carolina.
Greg-
Like he didn't miss a step.
Greg Hardy has been one of the stories, I think, for the
Sean
Cowboys.
Lee
Yeah.
is healthy again. And
Jason Witten still
like
playing
I told
pretty
you
good.
guys, if we could steal 1-2 wins before we get Romo back because of the bye, we're right in it still.
Oh, I agree completely.
Like
I'm
I said,
totally
this
okay
this
with that.
division winner could easily be 9-7.
It's true, but if we're talking power ranking overall, you're not putting anyone in that division in the top 10.
Oh
So,
no!
I mean,
He
where
just asked where I rank my team.
yeah,
but
where do you place them overall in the league?
16th.
Kind of middle of the pack.
Yeah, I was
I
thinking.
mean, for all the injuries, I still have to give them some respect. I'm not going to put them
Oh, no,
20th
I
or
agree.
anything.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I agree.
like probably 16th, 17th, 15th, and somewhere in that
Yeah.
range.
I think that's pretty much the range that
Above
we're all
the
gonna
Bills, though.
set them in, though.
Let's talk quickly about them.
Talent-wise, I'd probably put them, I don't know, top 10 talent-wise. But the way they've played,
Oh, they're like 22
I gotta put.
on my list. Like, they're
I don't know if
Yeah,
I'd
I have them
go
at like
that
20,
low.
I think.
20.
19, 20.
I don't know if I go that
too
low.
far
I
off
probably
the
have them
Cowboys,
around.
though.
I probably have them around 18 or so. I don't think I'd go that low.
But Taylor's out again this week.
Yep, Taylor's out again this week. Percy Harvin's considering retiring. Sammy Watkins may miss the game against this week. Carlos Williams has a concussion. So it's LaShawn McCoy and EJ Manuel.
About time, though, Percy maybe thinks about retirement, to be honest.
Unfortunately, obviously.
It
like,
sucks to say he is a great talent, super quick, but
And that's something I read this morning.
can
They
only
go-
get injured
He's
so many
always been
times,
one of
right?
the most talented players in the
And
league ever since he's
exciting,
been
like,
in it.
you know,
But
the
he gets
guy's put
hurt
up a
all the
lot of
time.
highlights over his young career, and it's a shame to see that a hip injury is what's going to be. It's not even like a head injury that you would think is something to keep somebody out. It's a hip injury, which is something you don't hear
Well, you
often.
do need your
especially
hip to run and all
of course,
that,
but
though.
with wide receivers, a hip injury to keep you out, I don't think is that common. It doesn't seem.
Well, I don't think
What's the severity of it, though? Does he need like a hip replacement? Or
They won't say obviously now, especially during the season. I know in the off season he did have a hip surgery,
Okay.
and they were surprised he even played week 1. He had a heck of a game week 1, and it was a big surprise that he was playing that game. Came back, he was playing well. Then again, he kind of just sat out. They wouldn't release it. Then they said basically last week, okay, listen, the hip is not okay, so they're gonna look at it again, and then he's gonna talk to his family and whatever and see what's going to happen from there.
talk to his grandparents about it. They can probably give him some advice on
me.
going through hip replacements. But also last week, and I want to weigh on it a little bit because it's ridiculous, those Packers throwback uniforms.
I love them.
When are they going to get rid of those?
I love them.
No, they're terrible.
I love those uniforms. If I could buy any other NFL jersey in the league other than a Bills one, it would be the old school Packers one.
Let's get him the Packers throwback with Jonathan Cooper. on it. 61 Packers throwback
The
with
thing
Cooper.
is, they're so ugly, they're good.
They're
I
terrible.
hope that makes sense.
They are
No, it
the
makes
ugliest
sense, but
things
not
I've
in
ever
that
seen.
situation.
The worst jersey that I've seen throwback-wise is the Steelers one.
They
Those are
have skid mark brown pants.
It's all good. I like it.
It's terrible.
It's almost up there with the sleeved NBA jerseys for me.
Garbage.
They're worse. They're worse because like the sleeved NBA jerseys, at least they put effort into designing them.
I hate them.
The Packers throwback is like, oh, it's navy blue, which isn't one of our colors, with a big yellow
that's
circle
what
in the
it
middle,
used to
which
be.
again isn't one of our colors, and some skid mark brown pants. Like what?
I love them. I honestly, they're so ugly. I like them.
I would be
In all
embarrassed if
honesty.
I was Aaron Rodgers walking out of the tunnel wearing
I
that.
wouldn't be.
I'd throw on my
I would know
usual
everyone's
uni.
looking at me, so I don't mind.
I mean, everyone's looking at you anyway. You're Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I thought you were actually complimenting me. I was like, oh.
No,
thank
you're
you.
not there for people to look at you.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody really, not that
Unfortunately.
anyone really wants to anyway.
I was gonna. Thanks for. Thank you.
But no, they're terrible. But in other news in that game too, Aaron Rodgers becoming the quickest quarterback in NFL history to throw for 30,000 yards.
Unreal. Like I never thought we would see a quarterback again kind of come in like Aaron Rodgers did and do what he's doing. Especially you consider like he was behind Brett Favre for a little bit, and he's still coming in doing the.
Well,
quickest.
I think it's by games, not by age. But
Oh, okay. Sorry,
it's
I thought
games
you meant
played.
maybe by age, but still
Yeah,
okay. Other than that,
games
that's
played.
still very
I
impressive.
think it's like
obviously.
13 games quicker than Unitas or something.
Yeah, and Rodgers only completed 16 passes, but threw for 255 yards.
He's the most efficient quarterback I've ever witnessed play the game of football.
Yeah,
Like-
it's unbelievable. He just picks his spots wherever he wants.
Yeah.
Like
Again, we've been complimenting Aaron Rodgers
Well,
quite.
the
You'd
Aaron
think we were
Rodgers
you'd think we
show,
were
yeah.
Packers fans.
It's well deserved.
And
though.
how often we compliment him, but really, there's nothing you can say bad about this guy.
no, you're
No.
not wrong.
Like there just isn't. There's no flaws
Great
in his
attitude,
game.
great leader, great player.
No flaws in his game.
Not at all.
Like he doesn't
Even his
throw
personality.
picks. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I agree.
he doesn't throw picks. He throws touchdowns. I mean, his yards per completion are ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's not really anything you can say against him. His
I
counterpart in that game, though, the complete opposite of 16 passing completions. We got 65 attempts.
He had 17 pass completions.
I think he just said 16.
Oh,
16.
16.
But I know the complete opposite on the other side, 65 attempts,
43 completions for
503 yards.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
See, this to me is like the basketball comparison. When you're putting up 35 shots, if you're in the NBA, you should be scoring 30 points. So I'm not too impressed with this performance.
The Kobe argument.
Yeah, exactly. Or the Melo argument.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's impressive, 503 yards thrown for sure, but
He lost the game.
yeah,
But,
exactly.
yeah, but-
At the end of the day, you took the L.
Still impressive stat though. Defending the San Diego Chargers is Allen putting up 157 receiving yards.
How about Melvin Gordon,
Pretty
though?
crazy.
How about John Brown?
Done nothing really yet.
What about Oliver? Like
Yeah.
the whole running game
Like
on
29
San Diego.
yards.
Well, Melvin Gordon got hurt too,
Yeah.
and that's why they threw the ball 65 times. Is because once Melvin Gordon's out, who are you playing at running
Well,
back?
Danny Woodhead has had a decent year.
Danny
rushing
Woodhead is
and
a
receiving.
receiver who plays running back.
Yeah.
Like
But
he's
still,
like
yeah.
Kevin Falk. He's not taking carries.
Yeah.
Like,
How about San Francisco getting a win? Kaepernick actually playing a good game. He had 18 for 27, 340
340.
yards, two TDs.
And speaking again of that,
And the Ravens, that was your Super Bowl pick?
yeah,
uh,
AFC.
and speaking of attempts thrown, Joe Flacco threw the ball 53 times, 343 yards, 33 completions, 2 touchdowns. Which
Well,
And Steve Smith, another big game again.
Steve
Fantasy-wise,
Smith,
137
as much as I
yards.
hate Steve Smith just because of his mouth, he's a damn good football
I
player.
love him. I love
don't
his
like
attitude. I love it.
Forsett, again, having a pretty quiet game. Like, sure, he had 62 yards receiving and 39 rushing. Or, sorry, the other way around, 39 receiving, 62 rushing. But still, a quiet game. You expect a lot more from him.
I never expected a lot more from him. He
Well-
came in last year and had a great season after 6 seasons prior of nothing.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know where all these huge expectations of people being like, we ought to take him in fantasy 6th overall are coming from.
It's
'Cause,
true.
like,
A lot of people did that.
you can't just go and grab a guy after one good season like that. I mean, wait at least until he has 2 or something.
No, I agree. Like, It's hard to say because there's a lot of expectation because they're like, he's already as good as Ray Rice. Like, they're already comparing him to what Ray was doing with the team. So, of course,
to be fair, Ray was pretty bad his last 2 seasons there.
Okay, well, I mean, a good Ray Rice. Like,
yeah, I don't. He's not exactly young either, especially on the running back spectrum. So I don't understand why people are like, this one good year, all of a sudden he's going to be a superstar. Vote him to the All-Pro team. No, he's a very average running back in the NFL and should honestly be in a split backfield.
And what about the story of another running back this week, Fred Jackson, as well?
Oh, the car accident?
About his car accident, yeah. So there's a lot of speculation. Some people are saying he was racing.
I heard,
some
he was
say
drag racing or something.
Yeah, some said it was with Marshawn Lynch, but Marshawn Lynch said no, and they all said no, Lynch had nothing to do with it.
Lynch actually commented on it?
Yeah. he just said, yeah.
He didn't actually comment on it. He just said no comments.
I'm just here. He's like, I'm just here because I don't get fined. They're like, no, this is with the team. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I wasn't there. But yeah, so they said it was not with Marshawn Lynch. Some people said it was a hard turn. Some said he revved at a random car on the street. But there's a lot going on, obviously. He did get in a car accident. Seems to be okay. Probably won't get any fine other than what he has to pay for repairs / if it was racing. But obviously, all the best to Fred Jackson. But what's your guys' take on that? Is it kind of dumb for such an experienced player to do what he did kind of thing?
It's dumb for a guy who everyone is expecting as a leader. Like, that was his big thing in Buffalo for the last few years, is how good of a leader he was and how good of a role model he was to the younger players and that. So it's not something you'd expect from him. But at the same time, when we're talking about, him being old in the NFL and a veteran in the NFL, he's what, 31?
Mm-hmm. I think older than 30.
On the grand scheme of things, being in your early 30s and car racing is what people do. I know we hold them to a different standard in the
Fred
NFL.
Jackson is 34.
Yeah. I know, which is, dinosaur years for a running back. But I know we hold them to a higher standard based on the fact that they are supposed to be role models for our kids and that. But out in the real world, it's what 34-year-olds do.
And that's what I was going to say, that I read a report from a Buffalo writer on Twitter, and he said that this isn't something uncommon that Jackson would do when he would leave even the Bills training facility or Ralph Wilson. Mm-hmm. When he would leave, he'd kind of rev up his car and just take a nice little kind of spin and go with speed down the road.
Yeah, when you're driving a $500,000 sports car, I'd do the same too. I can't blame the guy. Mm-hmm. But I've said this for a while. I think NFL players and any of the athletes are some of the dumbest for getting in trouble anyway. I mean,
they get hit in the head so often.
With all the arrests that happened in the offseason, like I remember them showing a report. This was the first month or two longest that someone went without getting charged in the NFL. It's ridiculous.
Time in like 6 years. Yeah, it was something really ridiculous.
And it was only like a month or two, which is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like when you have that much money, you shouldn't be drinking or driving, anything like that. Hire a driver, take a cab,
But the thing is, these guys,
I don't know how they get themselves in those situations.
A lot of times these guys think that they're Superman. And it's because they feel that from the crowd, and they just feel that fame gives them that kind of power or ability.
And to be fair, a lot of times it probably does.
Yeah,
as far as getting out of tickets and such. But when you crash into something, it's kind of,
And put someone's life at danger, obviously. Yeah, it makes it a lot harder.
Yeah, if you're, anytime you're going out and endangering, a life of someone or someone else, it's not something you're going to be able to get out of.
No, agreed.
But, I mean, I've never been, the biggest fan of Fred Jackson, but I know how much of a leader he's supposed to be, and it just...
It was really weird for me.
It's a surprising name to hear, out off the field in the media.
Yeah, like when you say Seattle, when I saw Seattle running back, and of course you think Lynch, but then I read car accident before they had the name of the player, and I go, okay,
it's Rawls.
I'm like, yeah, it was like, okay, maybe it's Rawls. Like, never in 100 years would I think I would see Fred Jackson drag race, and I was like, okay, what?
You'd think they messed it up, and it was Richard Sherman, and they said running back by accident beforehand.
Exactly. That's why I was really shocked, and it's something I just wanted to ask your guys' opinion on here.
I think as far as our opinions on it, we're all pretty similar. We're not going to condone going out and racing or anything, but...
No, I wasn't expecting anyone to be like, good job, he should have went faster, like something like that.
Should have gone harder, making a write-off. What are you doing, man? Your insurance will cover that.
Exactly.
I want to bring up something that we talked about even earlier today, is that the fact that it seems like Peyton Manning and Eli Manning have swapped bodies. Like, they've gone through some Freaky Friday stuff or something.
Legitimately.
Because...
Eli is playing some great football.
Eli is up there. Eli is another guy who's in the debate you can put in for MVP debates.
Last week, obviously, the Giants as a whole just had not a good game against Philly. Quite surprising. I think most of us picked the Giants for this one.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
All of us.
All three of us picked the Giants for this one, and it was shocking. But again, it's those weird not Sunday games. Thursdays and Mondays, weird things happen.
Of course, we lost because we all picked them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. But DeMarco had an alright game. 21 carries, 112 yards, and a TD.
Finally.
Yeah, DeMarco Murray's starting to pick it up a little bit, which he has to right now, really.
I mean, you can't really go down unless you start putting up negative yards in games.
Yeah.
Which is what Michael Vick did passing on Sunday. -6 yards in the first half.
But Eli Manning, going back to him, threw for 189 yards in the game. Obviously not his best showing of the season, but still a decent showing from Manning.
The thing Eli's done this year that has surprised everyone is avoid the turnovers. We always knew he could throw for yards. And with guys like Odell Beckham Jr. on the field, we know he can throw the touchdowns. But it's been avoiding those mistakes.
This is the first year where I think maybe the Madden curse didn't happen yet.
Well, I mean, to be fair, most of the time when it's a receiver on there, we don't really see it affect them too much. Like a couple years, but the last time I can remember before Beckham was when Fitzgerald was on the cover
With
Troy
Did he
Polamalu.
get hurt that year, though?
He put up 1,400 yards that year with Max Hall throwing to him.
But Polamalu fell victim to that year.
I don't know if he really fell victim to it that year. I mean, I feel like his drop-off begun the year prior to that, and he was they were both featured on the cover because they were in the Super Bowl, right?
And they wanted to do something different. It was the first time they had the
one of my
double
least
cover.
favorite covers.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually like that cover.
Me too.
I like when it's a solo.
I don't know.
No, the best cover was Vince Young.
Oh, God.
No, Michael Vick. Falcons.
No, Peyton Hillis.
Oh, that is the definition of the Madden curse right there.
It's funny because I was thinking about that one the other day, and I texted my buddy because he buys all the Madden games, and I was like, "Who was that guy in the Browns that was on the cover?" He's like, "I don't even know his name anymore." And I'm like, "Yeah, me neither."
Peyton Hillis.
That's all.
How about Brett Favre the year after he retired and then came back?
Yeah, because they print a version of him in the wrong team, and then
They put him. He was wearing the Packers jersey on the cover, and on the load screens it would say, "This year, Brett Favre became the first retired player to grace the cover of Madden," and he was playing.
And then he came back to sign with who was it first?
Minnesota.
No, the Jets.
The Jets.
Yeah.
And I remember reading something online. Like I went onto EA's website, and they're like, "Here's a printable version of Brett Favre in a Minnesota jersey to just slip in the sleeve so you don't feel bad." It's like, oh man, really? Yeah.
I like when they eventually added him back into the game, but it's still like you're going up. It's the loading screen for a game against the Jets, and it's like Brett Favre, the first retired player. And then you go into the game, and it's like starting at quarterback, Brett Favre.
It's like, great, there he is. You can't get rid of him.
You really can't. He's always there.
Well, that was like the thing, going back to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, I thought about was when they asked Brett Favre, like, hey, this Aaron Rodgers kid, this was last year or 2 years ago, like, he's pretty good, eh? And he's like, yeah, but we have the same amount of Super Bowls. Like, really? You're not going to give the kid credit for
but he's 1 for 1, you're 1 for 3, so.
Yeah, exactly. And I bet if Aaron Rodgers could get back this year, like, I still think.
Also, Aaron Rodgers never threw the interception that ended your chance at winning a second Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Which was
looked
a
like
terrible
Carson Palmer
throw.
This last week.
Honestly, no throw to me in NFL history compares to how bad that one by Brett Favre was.
That was the one with
in the
Minnesota,
NFC Championship.
Right?
Yeah,
that was
when he threw it, why are you throwing that pass?
It almost looked set up.
I'm like, there's no reason for you to throw that pass.
They could have took a knee and went for the field goal.
As the
Take
famous
a knee,
call.
You're not playing the Lions.
This is the Super Bowl, man. What? That's my favorite call of all time.
I really like that call.
Every time I hear it, I laugh because my dad is a huge Brett Favre fan.
Really?
So watching that game, it's like what he's like saying, "Oh, they're winning. They're going to go to the Super Bowl." Once he throws that interception, he just looks over at me. I'm just like, huge smile on my face, just not even saying anything. But So Eli Manning with his lack of turnovers this year, and then Peyton Manning with the abundance of turnovers this year, making up for the Manning family turnover ratio.
Yeah, now they're starting to balance himself out there.
Yeah,
So, but no, full credits to Eli. He's having a very good season. Like I said, Monday night was not a good night for the Giants. But again, Eli, he's probably putting himself up in the MVP candidate. Like I said, I don't think anyone's going to pass Brady or Rodgers in my personal
Brady and
opinion.
Rodgers are finishing 1 and 2.
But at least you know what? When your name is being thrown in there, it's very good. Obviously, we've seen the fall of Joe Flacco. We mentioned that last week, no longer being an elite quarterback. But Eli's kind of throwing his name back up there again. So
I think, Eli's always had the talent to be in that argument.
of course,
I don't think the Giants have really, until very recently, done a good job at building a team around him. You look at the names of receivers he's had on that team, and the best is Hakeem Nicks.
Victor Cruz,
Victor Cruz, but Victor Cruz is
injury.
2 injury.
Yeah, and they never really have made attempts to go out and get second options for him, or a running back that can catch a pass. It's.
Yeah, when they won, who do you have? Tyree and
David
Hakeem
Tyree
Nicks?
and Hakeem Nicks. Mario Manningham, the second year.
Yeah.
Brandon Jacobs.
At running back.
Yeah.
They had Victor Cruz the second year, right? Against the Patriots.
I don't know if they did.
I'm not
no,
sure.
I don't think they did yet.
Oh, okay. But I know they had Manningham. He was a huge
so
part
what's
of
his
that
name?
offense.
Either way, no crazy
The
stud.
big one, the big
receiver.
one that shot himself.
Oh, Plaxico Burress.
Plaxico
Burress.
Burress.
Oh, yes, yes.
But he at the time he wasn't really a star anymore. This was at the
The first one, he was a very
downward
good,
spiral
receiver,
of his career. But those teams were based off of defense. They built a solid defense, but they never really gave Eli Manning something to work with.
Yeah, they had a very good defense. Jason Pierre-Paul, but when he had 2 hands, obviously.
Then he had 10 fingers.
Yeah.
Strahan for the first one.
Yeah.
Who was one of
Justin
the best
Tuck.
pass rushers of all time. Tuck when he was actually good.
Yep.
Who else? OCU Manura when he was actually good.
Oh yeah, they had a very solid.
That
team
was
around.
probably one of the best defensive lines ever assembled. That first Giants Super Bowl.
Yeah. And I don't think they ever get enough credit because people always just talk about hey, the Patriots lost 1 game.
They talk
It's
about the
yeah,
helmet
Giants were
catch
so good.
and they talk
Yeah.
about the undefeated
But
Patriots.
it's the Giants were very good though.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, that helmet catch was crazy.
One
Oh,
of the
yeah,
best
that
ever.
was an
Probably
insane
the best
catch.
Super Bowl moment. Well enough.
Yeah. I
I like seeing the Bills lose to the Cowboys.
That interception though in the Steelers and Cardinals game, 100.
I wasn't even thinking the interception. I was thinking the Santonio Holmes catch.
Oh, that's a really good one, too. Welcome to the Throwback
Receivers on the
Thursday portion of
Steelers.
the podcast where we're talking about Super Bowls that happened 8 years ago.
Receivers on the Steelers wearing number 10. Ugh. Last week it was Martavius Bryant.
He
The
had a
Super
nice
Bowl
game,
it was Santonio Holmes.
Yep.
Ugh. But let's move on to next week rather than 4 years ago, and let's talk about who we have winning this week.
All
This
right,
week's
so
matchups.
our
Start
first
off
game.
Seahawks 49ers.
Yep. So
Seahawks.
they have to win.
Yeah, we've
They
said
have
this
to
week
win.
after week. They have to win this week.
Seattle,
Again, being a Thursday night game,
weird things.
I'm still sticking with the Seahawks.
I think I'm going to go with San Francisco. Because everything weird happens on Thursday night games.
This
and
was 3 weeks ago. Did you ever think you would say I
Oh,
picked
God,
the
no.
49ers to win a game?
God, no. But the way Seattle
But no, I
played
get
last
what you
week,
mean.
the way Seattle played last week, a heart-crushing,
played all year,
a
really.
heart-crushing way to lose a football game. Short rest off of that too, off of a game like that where you lose that badly and you don't have a full week to practice. You're not going to play your best, and then it's Thursday, and anything happens on Thursdays.
Agreed.
I'm taking Seattle and I'm picking Jimmy Graham to have a very good game this week again.
Close game or blowout?
I think it's going to be close
between.
regardless.
In between?
Yeah.
Like a 10-pointer?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm riding San Fran. The rest of them going with the more intelligent pick with Seattle.
And then we got Flaky's Bills against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
In wonderful London, England.
I got the Jags. Bortles. Too many injuries on that Bills team for me to pick them right now.
Yeah.
Again, this is weird circumstances going into
I
a
know, the
game,
London
and
games.
you're traveling over to London. You've got EJ Manuel starting at quarterback. You've got all of your receivers hurt. I'm taking Jacksonville
Sammy's
too in
game
this one.
time. I'm gonna box this week. In other words, it's me not wanting to admit a defeat, but I can't
So you're
stand
losing to the
watching
1
another
and 5
defeat.
Bortles
No,
Jaguars.
just because you said that, I'm taking my Bills. Just because you said those words.
The real winner here is the people of the United Kingdom.
get to watch a riveting.
I'm really sorry,
matchup.
London. Yeah,
you
that
get to
you
watch
got
an
us.
incredible matchup of the super injured
Listen,
Bills
like,
versus
yeah.
the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If they were getting the full Bills team, it would be much better. It would be worth your money.
They'd still be
Still
playing
a
the
terrible matchup,
Jaguars.
but
But yeah, still they're
Jags.
playing the
like-
Jags. But I'm sorry, it just got worse because you're watching the second team offense of the Bills versus the Jaguars.
Which is
So,
the second team offense in any other team
any
in the
other
league.
team. Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
their starters would probably lose to some college teams.
Probably.
Like, you know what? High school teams. Let's be fair.
In that game, I'm really worried about the tight end from Jacksonville. For some reason, just completely slipped my mind.
Mercedes Lewis.
No, the guy who used to play for Denver. What's his name?
Oh,
Tanny.
Julius Thomas.
Julius
okay.
Thomas. Yeah.
Julius
Sorry,
Thomas.
right.
I'm picking a big game from Julius Thomas this
So
week.
he's back this week then?
I believe he's
He played
Or
last
he
week.
played last week? Okay.
It's what's his face that's been hurt. Mercedes Lewis that's been hurt all year.
Lewis and Yeldon, I think, is still hurt. But so I'm picking a big game from Julius this week.
All right.
Next up, we got the Bucks against the Redskins. Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Welcome to the game of the week where we talk about
Games like this, just flip a coin,
and this, whatever the coin says.
go with the
whatever.
outcome. I'll go Redskins. They're
It's so
at home,
hard.
I guess.
I'm gonna go Bucks for this one.
I'm going with crab legs.
I don't know. Oh, Buccaneers. Yeah, I get it. James Winston. I
James
was like, what?
Winston. Yeah, I go with the Bucks.
All right. Falcons Titans. I think.
I don't. Is anyone gonna
I'm not
go on a
picking-
limb here?
I am not picking Broadway Joe, and I'm gonna pick the Atlanta
He
Falcons.
actually, he's been limited all week in practice too. So yeah, Falcons bounce back.
Go to
not
6-1.
lost.
Falcons go in to the fourth quarter trailing 10-7 and win 35-7.
I am totally okay with that as long
Or
as
Or
Julio-
35-10, sorry.
Bold statement of the
Trailing
week.
10-7 and they go in and win 35-10.
As long as Julio Jones gets the ball, I don't mind because he's on my fantasy team. So yeah, I'm picking Falcons as well.
Saints and Colts.
Saints. I'm taking
Colts.
Saints. Saints
They
had a
did
nice
lose to
game.
the Patriots, but they didn't look
Luck is
terrible.
playing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going with the Saints then.
Saints had a good game against Atlanta
Respect the
last
Haas.
week. So.
3 interceptions for Luck. Haas takes over next week.
I'm
And
picking,
leads them to the Super Bowl champions.
Yep.
I'm picking Ingram to have another good game like he did last week. So I'm taking Saints on this one.
All right, what do we got next?
Up next, we got the Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions.
Vikings.
I got Vikings too.
Vikings. I
Yeah.
don't even think there's much we could say.
I think it's
about
the
this game.
first game that Teddy Bridgewater actually looks like an NFL quarterback this season.
Yeah, brutal. I played him over Fitzpatrick.
You know
last
he's
week.
on course for 10 touchdowns on the season. Out of a quarterback in 2015.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Up next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers in the case of the unknown quarterback of who's going to play.
It'll be Jones.
It'll probably be
Landry.
Jones. And
Your Super Bowl pick.
yeah, let's remind everyone again: the Kansas City Chiefs,
They're
Steelers.
pulling a you and Flake and not showing up for the
Yep.
Super Bowl, I guess.
Yep, they weren't even invited, so it doesn't matter. I was the only one who.
I got
invited.
Steelers.
I'm going with Steelers too.
Another big game from
A healthy
Martavius.
Steelers team is not a bad football
No,
team.
No,
not
and,
at all.
and the only real major injury is Roethlisberger.
All right.
They still have great weapons for Landry Jones to get the ball too. So
My bold prediction of the week: Chiefs win. If they do not win, Andy Reid is gone.
Whoa.
there is
At the
no
end,
chance.
at the end of the season, not after this week.
There is no chance
way.
Andy
If the
Reid gets
Chiefs-
fired.
We'll see.
We're gonna have to wait 14 weeks to see whether this prediction comes true, and none of us are gonna remember it.
We'll see. If Andy Reid gets fired, just remember I said it. Browns and Rams.
I'll put a note on the podcast. Come back to this.
You can come back to see.
I
what-
got Rams. They kill another QB. Manziel's your starter next week.
I think they're going to kill Manziel either way, even if he's on the sideline. I'm taking Rams.
I just have an image now in my head of Manziel standing on the sidelines and Dan Quinn running off and just boom into
That's
him.
for making another mistake off.
Oh, yeah. See, like I said, NFL players and the stupidity. Just ridiculous.
Johnny Manziel's just a walking wrecking ball.
I don't even want to waste our time
He
speaking
came
on it,
in
to be
like a
honest.
wrecking ball. No,
Don't sing for 30 seconds. That's copyright. We can't afford that here.
it's true. Yeah, no, I'm taking St. Louis.
Yeah. Easy one for all of us. Up next, we got the Houston Texans versus the Miami Dolphins.
God.
Another just
A
great
game
on the
of
schedule.
of expectations coming into the season. They should just send them over to the UK. Have them play there.
I'm
They
gonna
can
say-
stay.
I'm gonna go Houston.
I'm going Dolphins.
I'm going Houston.
I'm only
JJ Watt.
Is he playing though?
He played last week. He ended up playing.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know
messed
there
up
was
my pick
reports.
'cause I picked.
I know there was
I didn't
reports
pick
all
them
week
'cause of
about
that.
him not
Nobody cares about
possibly
JJ
not
Watt now
playing.
because he's not catching touchdowns. Let's put it that
True.
way.
He's still getting sacks.
And obviously, I think
Game of the week.
Yep, has to be New York Jets versus the New England Patriots.
Going Jets.
Patriots.
Patriots. As well.
23-20.
Like I said, I think it'll be a close game.
Yep,
But I think
agree.
the Patriots win.
Last minute field goal at the end. Fitzpatrick
Patriots.
sends him on a game-winning drive.
I think Brady throws 3 picks though.
Things Bills fans
Agreed.
never
Yeah.
heard.
I think Rivas gets him twice.
He hasn't thrown a pick yet this year. I think he throws 3 this game.
Wow. But you still think they win?
I still think they win.
Okay.
I think he's 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, but they win based on red zone rushing touchdowns.
LeGarrette Blount or Lewis just doing the work this week.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we got the Raiders and the Chargers.
I never thought I would say this.
Oh no,
Oakland Raiders.
I'm taking Chargers.
I'm taking the Raiders too.
Wow, I'm the only one picking the Chargers.
I don't think Phillip Rivers has a good game this week.
Yeah,
I think Phillip
after
Rivers
throwing
drops
that
the ball.
Much, his arm.
After throwing that much and just being the focal point that he was, and then coming into this game with the Raiders knowing Melvin Gordon's probably not playing, and they won't have to stop the running game, they're going to be playing cover all game.
I still think Danny Woodhead is going to have a decent game. Obviously, kind of as more receiver type running back because it's going to be more short yardage throws for Phillip Rivers. So I think that's why I'm picking Chargers.
I mean, it's great and all to have a running back that is that, but if you have no running game to threaten them with, that's going to hurt your passing game.
Up next, we got Christian's Cowboys versus the Giants.
Cowboys. Greg Hardy 3 sacks.
MVP, Eli Manning, and the Giants.
I'm going
You
to
got a
take
closer blowout.
I think it'll be close.
if Dez plays Cowboys, if no Dez Giants.
I can't hate on that.
Yeah, because I think.
But I think Hardy has another humongous game.
Oh yeah, I
this
think
week.
you'll have another good game as well.
And Castle's coming in. I'm telling you, that's going to spark up the boys.
I'm going to tell you one thing: Matt Castle and EJ Manuel. Since EJ Manuel's starting year, EJ has a better QB rating and completion percentage than Castle. So just remember that when you're watching the game, all right?
Never, you're going to lose to the Jags.
Where's
this week.
Geno Smith sit on that ranking? Because
Geno Smith is just nobody knows. It's someone
40
fixing his job.
43 interceptions, 4 touchdowns.
Fun fact, quickly, I went to go watch a Bills and Jets game when Geno Smith was, I don't know if it was his rookie year. Just watching him live, you really get to admire how bad he is. In all honesty, you really see how bad he is live.
Was that the game when he threw 4 interceptions in the first quarter?
I can't remember. It was in Buffalo, obviously,
Yeah.
and the Bills won that game, I think, like 35-10. Like, they just killed the Jets that game. Up next, we got the Philadelphia Eagles and the Carolina Panthers on the Sunday Nighter this week.
MVP Newton. Panthers. Blowout.
Panthers.
as well.
Co-MVP with Eli Manning and Hasselbeck.
And, yep. And Jonathan Cooper.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the Monday night game, speaking of Jonathan Cooper, the Jonathan Cooper-led Cardinals against the Baltimore Ravens.
Finally going to be on TV.
Oh,
That's what
about
you think.
time, though. No,
I know, it's ridiculous.
honestly, NFL, where are you with
Yeah.
showing these Cardinals games?
Something's going to come up where they're going to be like, we have breaking news. Connor McDavid has just scored a hat trick. We're putting it on
Yeah,
every
just
market on TV.
goes on the screen. They
Yeah.
switch over to the Oilers game.
But no, I got Cardinals.
Yeah.
For my start of the week, I got Palmer. The Ravens defense is allowing an average of 21 points to QBs for fantasy, so I think Palmer's going to light them up, but actually score TDs this week.
If they actually
Good
decide to
starts.
pass the ball instead of try to run the ball for some reason when it's not working, then I'm going with Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm going Cardinals as well.
They're going to light up that team if they throw the
they
football.
should light up this team. Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
So that's the Monday night game. So obviously we've covered everything for this week in the games. I'm going to move in now. We're going to talk about a little bit of fantasy real quick about who our fantasy starts, sits, and surprises are going to be this week.
Yeah,
So
for
we'll
sure.
kick it over to Christian to start.
My start of the week, like I said, Palmer. The Ravens been averaging 21 points to QBs. My sit of the week is Carlos Hyde. He's been a bit roughed up with the foot injury, and he is playing the Seahawks defense. Big surprise, Fitzpatrick has a big game against the Patriots.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Understandable. The Patriots do
He's
not
been
have
a
a very
very
good
steady
defense.
fantasy QB this year.
The Patriots don't have a very good defense either, to be fair. My start of the week, Adrian Peterson versus the Lions, who he's going to just have his day with. The Lions are one of the worst run defenses in the NFL after being one of the best last year somehow. And then my sit of the week, is going to be Phillip Rivers against Oakland. I already talked about how Oakland has a pretty solid pass defense. Rivers coming off of that game last week, and I can't see him being able to put up anything close to what he did last week against Oakland. My surprise of the week is back to the Flakes team over here, going back over to the UK. EJ Manuel versus the Jaguars, which is owned in 0.4% of leagues. So if you're listening right now and you need to pick up a fantasy quarterback because for some reason you have, Josh McCown starting at quarterback or something, EJ Manuel's your guy.
My fantasy team roster.
But no, I think EJ Manuel, he's not going to have an Aaron Rodgers game, but I think he has a good enough game that you could play him at quarterback in a pinch against the Jaguars, who have the worst pass defense in the NFL.
My start of the week for this week is going to be LaShawn McCoy. McCoy's going to be getting the ball a lot, running and passing. He's going to be just the number one guy for the Bills this week.
The only guy.
He's basically going to be the only guy. So LaShawn McCoy is my start of the week. My sit of the week is going to be, in all honesty, I'm going to have to put it on Patriots receivers, not named Rob Gronkowski. I was going to say anyone from Amendola to
Edelman.
Yeah, there you go. Edelman, obviously. Brandon LaFell is still not back. He's questionable, but he has not been practicing this week, but they still said he could be game time. So I'm going to stay away from the Patriots receivers. And my surprise of the week is
Tom Brady showed his speed last week. Maybe he can
maybe he'll run the
maybe
ball.
he can go and catch the ball. He'll throw it and run up and catch it.
And my surprise of the week, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be Danny Woodhead for the Chargers this week.
All right. Those are all pretty fair picks. Let's jump on to a segment we kicked off last week. Me obviously throwing Jonathan Cooper in pretty early. We're going to go with the...
How did we get in Cleveland?
The weekly 4th and goal doghouse.
I'm putting myself in the doghouse for making my fantasy week matchup way too close and not starting Martavius Bryant. To be fair, I had no faith in Vic, but I didn't start him, and I wish I did. Even though I think a lot of people were
probably in that field though of not starting Bryant. There's a lot of questions coming off of injury. Vic starting at quarterback, playing against what was supposed to be a solid Cardinals defense.
And I put myself in there because Whedon's stuck in there for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
well,
Brendan Whedon, I was going to say.
He's doing it because he wants to get Whedon's autograph. He wants to meet him. Now they're both there. Andrew?
Myself, so I'm keeping Eddie Lacy in there. Obviously did nothing. And I think the Packers will become much better after this bye week. I think Lacy will start playing a little bit better. He'll find himself
looking forward to pulling Lacy out of the doghouse.
I need him to because he was my first overall pick, or my first round pick in fantasy. Not first overall, sorry, but he was my first round pick in fantasy.
Gotta say, it's a bit of a stretch.
I really need Eddie Lacy to.
It wasn't Forsett?
Yeah, Forsett.
Or the ass?
Yeah, imagine that. Just if anyone picked Hasselback in their draft somehow, good on you. I really applaud you this year.
The second round, the Haas. Well, I mean, I got Raul Neto in an NBA, so.
Jared Jack, I hate you.
Eric Bledsoe, you got to put up a dang good season this year.
But my doghouse pick for this week is going to go to Carson Palmer for the end of the game. I'm sure he will get out of the doghouse right after this week. But just for the sake of last week, an argument, Eddie Lacy stays in there, and I'm going to throw Carson.
So we got you throwing him in the doghouse, and Christian saying he's the start of the week.
Yes. Well, no, I'm throwing him in. He
didn't have a bad game last.
No,
he didn't have a bad game.
400 some odd yards.
He threw a stupid pass at the end,
and that made my fantasy game that much closer this week.
He had 400 yards passing, man.
But he only put up 16 fantasy points
because he threw 2 picks.
But that's why. But other than that, like I said, he's going to get out of it. After this week,
Andrew is basing his entire doghouse off of his fantasy team.
I am. That's why Carson Palmer's in there, because he made it much more closer than it had to be last week for me. If I started Blake Bortles, I ran away with that game, but no, I went with Carson Palmer.
Bortles.
To be fair, nobody's really starting Blake Bortles over Carson Palmer. Start EJ Manuel over both of them.
Oh,
I'm starting Raul Neto at quarterback. My doghouse this week, and we touched on it a little bit earlier, is whoever's doing the scheduling for the television games
Oh, I know.
at the NFL. What are you doing? I can complain all day about the fact that the Cardinals are one of the best teams in the league and not getting airtime, but it's fine because I understand that they're not one of the most popular teams in the league. But they
Steelers.
played the Steelers last week. The Steelers are statistically the number one team in Canada. There are more Steelers fans in Canada than fans of any other team, and they didn't get airtime? Like, who is deciding this? Who is not putting the Steelers on national television?
Yep.
I mean, it's bad enough that it was a good matchup, and the Cards are a good team. The Steelers are a decent team. It's sort of a growing rivalry in the fact that they all have... The Cardinals keep picking up everyone who leaves the Steelers.
Yeah.
They're pretty much... Like, honestly, the Cardinals are pretty much the 2009 Steelers. But, like... I don't
remember
understand.
Carson Palmer playing quarterback for the Steelers.
I don't understand how you can not put these guys on TV. Whoever it is at the NFL that is making these decisions, you gotta I don't know, prepare yourself better or something. He's probably just being like Andrew and flaking out on the meetings.
And how did they think even
I don't
they
miss
make the
meetings.
schedule before Roethlisberger got hurt? How didn't they think that would be a good matchup for
Yeah.
TV anyway?
Yeah, especially in Canada.
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
If anyone does have an answer for that, or they know an insight that we don't know, comment down below.
Shout out to my
please.
mom though. Steelers are her favorite team.
Steelers are my ex-girlfriend's favorite team. So
Ooh.
Oh,
I did not enjoy
so
getting
the
chirped
pain you
throughout that
received
game.
yesterday or last week, I should say.
Listen,
Oh, yeah,
the amount of pain between myself, who likes the Bills, and my girlfriend, who's a Ravens fan, it hasn't been a good year for football for us.
Yeah, but I mean, picture me. I was
least you
dating.
see
I was
my team
dating
win.
this girl in 2009 when the Steelers beat the Cardinals in the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's when we broke up. No,
Plot twist.
February 3rd,
He's
2009.
like great girl, but Steelers won the Super Bowl. They're gonna beat them.
He's a great girl.
No, I said she.
That's not what it sounded like.
Jeff, is there something you got to tell us? And moving on.
After the show. No, but it's just, it's not only that too. I mean, I can bring up the Cardinals games all the time because I'm the one who's trying to watch them. I'm the one person in Canada who's trying to watch all of their games. But I mean, there's other games too that they're not showing on TV. A couple weeks ago, I couldn't get the Cowboys game
Oh, I know.
on TV.
know.
What is that?
I don't have that issue.
You have the two most popular teams in the NFL, and the Cowboys and the Steelers, and I couldn't get them on TV.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
It makes zero sense.
Buy NFL Network today.
So, yeah.
That's all it is. They want you to buy the network.
We're not going to show you the shows you want to watch. We're just going to put Buffalo, Jacksonville on every station, so that until you buy,
Listen, when there's nothing else on TV at 9 in the morning, what do you want? All right?
just repeats of Buffalo versus Jacksonville at 1 o'clock and
Can't
4
wait.
o'clock.
They did that once to me where it was like game of the week, and they're like, "Here's the game the Bills blew a lead to the Cowboys," and I had to watch it like 8 times.
That's the thing too. Last week when I was watching, when I was watching the Cardinals Pittsburgh game, on the bottom the whole time they're chastising me by saying, "This is Fox's game of the week." I'm like, "It's not on TV." I don't understand. But yeah, so my doghouse this week, joining Jonathan Cooper, is the whoever the guy, I'm going to call you Pete, the guy who's controlling the scheduling at
Thanks,
the
Pete.
NFL. Yeah, Pete, come on.
Hit us up.
You got to be a little better next time, Pete. I want to see some guy named Pete actually tweet us or something and be like,
It wasn't my
"Hey,
fault, man.
I swear I didn't do
Taking
it.
orders from the boss.
I was doing what I had to. I don't like dogs. I'm allergic. Get me out of the doghouse."
All
But
right, so Jeff, do you have a question for us this week?
I do have a
Just a
question.
reminder, I'm up 2-1.
All right.
He is. Christian is currently up 2-1 in
Hopefully
the
you show up for
standings
every question.
I
Yeah.
have so far.
so far. The one he missed, I didn't have a question for, so he got a little lucky on that one. We had our guest star in for that one.
Yep.
Because
Star.
because once again, Proto flaked while being sick, whereas I am sick right now.
Listen, I didn't have a mediocre
not left.
cough, and I'm sick. I can't
Mediocre
do my
cough.
assignments.
Go
I
shave,
couldn't
all
even
right?
speak.
Go shave.
You guys can't see
You
it
look
right
like a
now, but I
homeless
haven't
person.
shaved, and my beard is getting real big.
He
so-
looks like a homeless person.
No, or he'll be gone for tomorrow.
Actually, no. You know what?
Hit us
Homeless
with the
people make him
question.
look good.
Oh boy. Hey, all right, this has been my final episode. Thanks.
See, he's flaking on the rest of the show now too. All right. My question of the week. So as this one's a little bit of an easier one for you guys because I felt bad for how off you all were last week.
I don't even remember the question, but I knew we were off by a lot.
It was off by like 2,000.
Was it
I
like,
was close
was
to
it the
that.
penalties one?
No, that one was bad too.
That
though.
one was bad too.
That
The only
was
one that was
bad.
close was the week one with Josh McCown.
Yeah, where you were almost dead on.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned, Phillip Rivers threw for 65 pass attempts this game. This game. The NFL record for pass attempts in a game is held by one Drew, don't call me Breeze Bledsoe.
Hey, Drew Bledsoe.
How many did he throw
I feel like I know.
in that game?
I got it.
It was in 2003. He was playing for New
I
England.
always answer first. and then
2003 for New England.
Yes.
I always answer first, and you sit there and wait.
That's
10
not
minutes
true.
so you can throw in another answer. I'm Price is right to you now, so you go first.
So, sorry. So, how many did Rivers have this week? 65?
65. Which, if you need to know, is 7th all time for a game.
Oh.
Do, do,
Now my number changed a little bit.
82.
78.
Price is right, me.
Christian wins. The correct answer was 70.
Ooh.
70
You know what's
pass
crazy?
attempts.
You messed me up by saying Rivers was 7th. My first guess, you know how I said I'd change it? My first guess would have been 72.
Yeah.
But then you saying 7th, I was like,
Me too. I was actually
He was
gonna guess.
7th, but there's like 3 people tied for second at like 69.
Sure.
My
Okay.
guess was 72 or 73, and then when he said he was 6, I'm like, man, he's gonna be way up there. Like,
That's what I'm here for, to
3 and
screw
1.
them up. So Christian takes a 3-1 lead. How do you feel about this, Andrew?
I watched the Bills, so I'm not that disappointed.
Yeah, but Drew Bledsoe played for the
You
Bills.
mean you watch the Bills, that's why you're always disappointed.
Same thing, really.
Yeah, Bro's got to leave to go catch a flight to the UK right now.
I wish. I really wish, but we have to write a midterm.
He's gonna flake on the midterm to go
If
to
it
the
meant
UK
going to the
to watch
game,
a
I would.
terrible Jacksonville Jaguars game.
With EJ Manuel
EJ Manuel at
and
quarterback.
Robert Woods as your starting receiver.
The plane will land and they'll all get off and be like, where's EJ?
God, no, he's so upset.
The plane will land, they'll all get off, be like, oh, where's EJ? Oh, he didn't make the flight. It's like,
JP Lossman.
in comes Josh Johnson at quarterback.
I would. Oh my god. My TV would be broken.
Starting at quarterback, it's Percy Harvin.
With his thrown out hip.
You don't need a hip to play quarterback. It's fine.
Sure. Tell
All right.
Tyrod Taylor that.
I will. Tweet him right now. Hey, Tyrod.
Take your hip out. I bet you can still play quarterback.
Just get a hip replacement. You'll be fine. All right, so we've covered just about everything there is to cover in the NFL this week. The best way that we could possibly do it, which is, of course, the best way ever, because we are the best football podcast on the internet. So for Christian Smith and the Flake, I'm Jeff Blagden.
AKA Andrew Reese. Don't forget my name.
Just forget he said that. I'll cut it out. For them, I am Jeff Blagden saying until next week, when it comes to the Fourth and Goal podcast, always go for it.
Thank you for listening to Break the Cast.